Nnamdi Kanu has not done anything that other people from other zones have not done. We know about Sunday Igboho, of the Yoruba nation agitator. We know of the Boko Haram people that say they want a different country where Western education is an abomination. These people have been released. Not just that they have been released. In the case of Boko Haram, they've been re-assimilated to the society, given plum jobs, even in our military. They've been given money and been resuscitated, reconciled, and rehabilitated. Why is Nnamdi Kanu's case different? He is now more like a political prisoner. I tell you something. The longer Nnamdi Kanu is in prison, the taller he becomes, and the shorter the government becomes. Political prisoners have always been treated in a very different way from the ordinary criminals on the road. When you are in government, you have to display a lot of wisdom in handling political issues. I'll give you an example. United States had already cornered Julian Assange, the WikiLeaks founder, who they accused of leaking some classified document that embarrassed United States. But they also realized that they had to make a balance between free speech, between the freedom of journalists, and trying to bring a journalist to trial. They know that Russia is holding some of their citizens who are journalists, and they are trying to bring espionage charge against them. Knowing this, they know that even if they bring this man to the United States, they will still, face some backlash. They now went through wisdom and did a plea bargain and released this man from jail and allowed him to get back to Australia. Nnamdi Kanu has not done anything that other people from other zones have not done. We know about Sunday Igboho, of the Yoruba nation agitator. We know of the Boko Haram people that say they want a different country where Western education is an abomination. These people have been released. Not just that they have been released. In the case of Boko Haram, they've been re-assimilated to the society, given plum jobs, even in our military. They've been given money and been resuscitated, reconciled, and rehabilitated. Why is Nnamdi Kanu's case different? There is an ethnic and some unnecessary bias that is keeping that man in jail. The government should be wise enough to release this man. You can use the Julian Assange option. If you don't want to say you are losing face, you can release him conditionally. You can release him unconditionally. As a lawyer, I've watched the legal issues very clearly. And I saw that even in the courts, from the High Court to the Supreme Court, there are discordant tones amongst them. Even in the issue of bail, some of the tier of the courts have granted him bail. Even in the issue of the charges, some tier of the court had quashed all the charges. So you can see that the government has a lot of places it can stand to release the young man and bring peace to the southeast. He is now more like a political prisoner. I tell you something. The longer Nnamdi Kanu is in prison, the taller he becomes, and the shorter the government becomes. They should take the intelligent way out of this and release him like they did to other people. Rehabilitate him and reconcile him as they are reconciling Southeast completely to the nation. I brought the Julian Assange issue just to tell you that the government can use wisdom and bring about situation where they will tell him, you've spent so and so time in detention. Let us count it for you as any punitive measure for whatever they may say he had done. Allow him to plea to any minor offense that will suit that number of times he has already stayed and release him. That's why I brought the Julian Assange. That's wisdom. Then secondly, you can release him conditionally and tell him, look, this will bring crisis if we release you. No responsible government will say, let us release you when we have not gotten a commitment from you that you will no longer go along this line. The young man had said that he is willing to negotiate, that he is willing to talk. So you talk to him, that is releasing him conditionally. Then the third one is releasing him unconditionally. So you have a choice, but the three of them will land in releasing him. The most important thing is that the government checks the cost-benefit analysis in whatever it is doing. And I can tell you that the benefit of releasing him, if you can make him to get commitment on what you want him to do after releasing him, will be better than keeping him. Because keeping him has not solved the security situation in the southeast. It has not stopped the agitation. As a matter of fact, it is making even the agitation to now be multifaceted, to now be unknown. That's why you hear the unknown gunman. So it's more difficult to tackle. So releasing him, in my own opinion, will be better off now than keeping him. The benefit of releasing him will be better than the cost. So you negotiate with him, know the best option, and release him.
The Niger Delta group that gave Tinubu's government 14 days ultimatum to release Nnamdi Kanu, the ultimatum expires today, being Saturday, 6th of July 2024. So people are asking, what is going to happen? What are they going to do? Well, time will tell. As the ultimatum expires today, let us look forward to the federal government action or this group's action. But for me, I don't really know what is going to happen. But before we go into that, the Attorney General of the Federation, Fagbemi, said that the Nigerian judiciary is no longer the last hope of the poor, but the rich citizens. You hear that? Nigerian judiciary no longer last hope of the poor, but the rich citizens. Attorney General Fagbemi. Now, this article is from Shara Reporters. It was written on 6th of July 2024, and it reads, the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, has expressed his worries over the current state of the Nigerian judicial sector. The minister, who spoke during the groundbreaking of the 37 billion construction of Abuja Division of Appeal Court Complex at Daki BU by the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, said the judiciary was now for politicians and other influential people in the country. Out of context. The person who is saying this is Attorney General of the Federation and the Minister of Justice. For him to come out to tell you, my fellow poor masses who are the victims of Nigerian states, who try to protect politicians anytime you talk against them, who try to protect people who are killing them, the Attorney General is telling you that Nigerian judiciary is no longer for you. So you have to be very careful. You have to be very careful the way you tread, the way you talk against people, because if Nigerian state want to deal with you, they will deal with you, because judiciary is no longer your last hope. Judiciary is not for you. You don't have the money to bribe judges. You don't have the money to hire senior advocate of Nigerians who have connection, not based on the constitutional provision, but based on who you know, the judges you know. Do you have money to bribe judges? This is the basis of Nigerian judicial system. And Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, senior advocate of Nigeria, is telling you that the judiciary is no longer your last hope, because the poor cannot afford to swing the decision of the court anymore. Well, this is terrible. Nigerians will hear, they will keep quiet, they will murmur. They will hear, they will keep quiet, they will murmur. What else do you want to know that Nigeria is a failed state? During the election, we saw how a senator, a serving senator then, came to the Senate floor and said that anytime a senator in the Senate floor there loses election, he will use his wife, who is the president of Court of Appeal, to change the decision of the election to their own favor. You saw that Nigerians did not react. Nobody reacted. We kept quiet. Nothing is going on. Yes, that is how we roll. We are doing ourselves. Time will come. We are going to suffer for every action that we did not take. Now, the next article, the next paragraph of the article continues. The FCT minister had at the ceremony said that the President Bola Tinubu approved 30 billion of the 37 billion in the 2024 budget for the structure, which he promised to deliver by September 2025. However, despite Mr. Fagbemi's submission about the judiciary, he expressed hope that the complex will be for truth exposure and protection of the people's rights. The Attorney General of the Federation said, "Gone were those days when the judiciary was regarded as the last hope of the common man. I take objection to it. It is the big people now who patronize the judiciary, not even the common man. If you have any doubt, the election is approaching. Come and see the way, with all due respect, some people behaving like rain-beaten chicken. Forgive me, I don't mean to be rude. So the judiciary is no longer the last hope of the common man alone. It is also, or majorly now, the last hope of the big shots." I'm not the one that is saying it though. I know that if I make any video like this, if I know, people will start attacking me on messages, on WhatsApp, on emails. I am not the one saying it. The Attorney General of the Federation is saying it. So when we tell you people that Nigeria has decayed, you people argue with us. But the evidence is clear. So you are still imagining why someone like Nnamdi Kanu, despite the judiciary free him, the federal government still have the opportunity to manipulate the judges, even when the Supreme Court almost quashed the whole thing. But at the end, they still refer him back to the Federal High Court, because the judiciary now is not based on Nigerian constitution, but it is based on who are you. Do you have money? Do you have connection? So these are the things we're experiencing in Nigeria. And bet me, this thing is going to lead us to a place where we don't expect. It is a very terrible thing. Now, the Niger Delta group who gave ultimatum to Tinubu to release Nnamdi Kanu, they said that Nnamdi Kanu is being held unjustly. That is the reason why they really want to do what they feel is the best interest for the people of the Southeast and the South-South. That if Nnamdi Kanu is not released up to today, that they are going to cripple Nigerian economy by blowing up the pipelines. So the news was published almost the whole national newspaper in Nigeria. So as the ultimatum expires today, there is tension and people are asking questions, what is going to happen? And I heard that the Navy, the military, they are vigilant, watching the pipelines. They don't know where they are going to come from. Well, all these things is not to the best interest of the nation. It's not to the best interest of the people. Tell me, what does it take to release a man that does nothing against the constitution? Let me put it in that way. What does it take to release him? If people who has done worst, like Kenneth was saying, the Boko Haram members who were forgiven, recruited, they become military again, the terrorists who have been blowing up churches, blowing up mosques, doing all sort of things against the Nigerian state, they forgive them, they put them into military, they rehabilitated them, some of them they give them house, equip them, they do all sort of things. Or is it because the Boko Harams are not people from the south? If we do not speak, nobody is going to speak. We are asking questions, and our questions need answer.
Many of us from the north are famed for cattle keeping. And when you are driving the cattle through different grazing grounds, the cattle believe that you love them so much because you protect them from the elements, because you protect them from other wild animals. But if the cattle were to know that you are the one who would end up eating them, they would treat you very differently. Invariably, they do not know. And therefore, you will continue controlling them the way you do, and you will continue eating them the way you do. But it's a totally different case when you are leading human beings. They are not like cattle. You may lead them in a particular direction. You may think that you have lulled them into a false sense of security. You may think that you have deadened their minds. But always remember that one day, if you don't do that which is good and right for your fellow men, there is a day of reckoning. There is a day of reckoning. And history has demonstrated that it can come in the twinkling of an eye. History has demonstrated that kings have been toppled. History has demonstrated that presidents have been removed. History has demonstrated that great men have been cut down. History has demonstrated that men can rise when they are misled. History has demonstrated that men are indeed capable of rising up. I always read these words of the American Declaration of Independence because I love them. They apply to humanity. Before America became what it is, they had enlightened men. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are born equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable right, that among those are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And it is for this reason that governments are instituted amongst men. And that when those governments fail to perform, it is the duty of those people to rise up and to remove such governments.